Hello and welcome to video number 4. We're going to talk about where do they hang out. Now, you had a brief idea by looking at the page likes, but what we want to do is we want to dig further and take a look at how people are engaging with different pages that are similar affinities. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to these pages, we're going to review the content, the images, what people are reacting to, and how they are commenting. All right, so let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so we're back to the Facebook Audience Insights, and what you want to do is simply go back to the page likes page. And what we want to do is look at the top categories. Now, what Facebook has done here is it gives you an idea of all the things that the audience is interested in. So for example, what media or news company do they listen to or look at? What are they interested in terms of publishers? It says boutique stores. What do they go to in terms of shopping? What do they eat? What do they drink? What education websites do they go to learn something about knitting, maybe? Where do they go for games and toys? What websites do they visit? So now, these may not necessarily be related to knitting, but it will give us an idea of where they go to hang out. So we can see that these people like recipes. So we see recipes, we see that they like to save money in terms of coupons. Crock-Pot Girl is a website for someone who's interested in quick, simple, easy meals with a crock pot. And Scary Mommy is a blog for mothers. So this gives us an idea of the different categories that they're interested in. So what I would recommend that you go ahead and do is simply open up a few of these that stand out to you and go to those pages. Okay, so we clicked on The Spruce, which is a Facebook fan page, and we can see that it has a website, but it also has a bunch of images and videos and content that we can take a look at. So what I would recommend that you do is take a look at the images that stand out. So we can see gardening, we can see some videos, so we can see that the spruce, there's a lot of things about animals, there's a lot of things about different types of recipes. So what you're looking for is patterns, essentially, in the form of images. So when you create your content, you could create content with images like this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be related to knitting. What we're simply trying to do is engage the audience. So if you were to have a Facebook fan page about knitting, you could simply also have images of dogs, images of gardening or recipes, and other things, simply to engage your audience, because it's what they're interested in. So if we continue to scroll down, we can click on photos or videos. I like to click on photos. So we can see quotes, lots of quotes, and that's one of the pieces of content that we will be creating later down the road. So we're just simply scrolling through and taking a look at the images, and we can see there are tons and tons and tons and tons of images with quotes, and most of these are simply blue background with words on top. Now you can improve this and make it better. So by going through the images, this allows you to get some ideas on different images with words that you can create as well. Now, what we want to do now is take a look at perhaps the images that are getting a lot of engagement. So for example, we can see this one here has about 45 likes, 388 comments. And as we're going through, what I notice is that the ones with the blue backgrounds, for the most part, actually have a lot more engagement. And that's interesting. So let's go to another page. So this one's called Parents. So this gives us an idea that the people that we're targeting, we saw that earlier, it was 88% women. Maybe many of them are mothers. So we wanted to go down and click on photos again. And we wanted to scroll down further. We can see a lot of images with quotes. That's great. And if you find an image that is getting a lot of likes and comments, you can look at them and maybe not necessarily plagiarize or copy, but find a really good image that fits this and perhaps rewrite the quote. So what we're doing here is we're not necessarily copying, but we're finding what works and simply creating the content based upon that. So what you want to do is you want to go through all of these different pages and do what we are doing right now. Jot things down on notepad or paper and get an idea of what different images you want to use. Hello and welcome to video number 5. We're going to talk about magazines and what kind of images inspire your audience. Now, the reason why we're going to be using magazines is because this form of content marketing uses a lot of images. And magazines are a great resource of figuring out what actually works. Now, if you think about it, magazines, a lot of them are run by big companies. Yes, some of them are run by smaller companies, but for the most part, magazines typically invest millions into finding what works and what doesn't. So let's go ahead and give you some examples. Okay, so finding magazines are actually very easy to do. All you have to do is simply go to google.com, type in the keyword, and then space magazines. So in this case, we're going to stick with knitting. So we got knitting magazines. And as you can see, there are all sorts of knitting magazines here. Now, what we're trying to look for here are patterns, similar things. So we can see the age group of these, which is actually very interesting to me because I would think people who are interested in knitting may be older. But this actually shows me that I am wrong. So what we want to do here is we want to go to these pages and just open these up like this. And let's just take a look at a few. Okay, so now that I've opened up these magazines in different windows, you'll notice one thing in common. They will tell you about the magazine, they'll give you some reviews, but it won't really allow you to look inside of the magazine. Now, the reason why I open these up is because what we do is we dig deeper. So Knit Simple Magazine, what I do is right click on search Google for this. So we'll search Google for this. We'll scroll down until we find the website. So if we scroll down, we can see it is knits or knitsimplemag.com. We're going to go to this page and here we are. So when we're at the actual website, they are going to show you even more images inside of the magazine. So that's kind of a hack and different way to dig a little bit deeper. So we can see that it's very colorful in terms of images. They use a lot of blues. I've noticed that with the Spruce website, and then of course this one here. And what we're looking for is a pattern. So they use a lot of pinks, a lot of blues, a lot of yellows. And we can dig deeper, like so. So what you want to do is simply look through this and get a better idea of the different images, the different colors that stand out. All right, so I'm going to close this down. I'm going to go to the next one. This one is Interweave Knits Magazine. I'm going to do the same exact thing. We're going to right click, do a search on Google, and see if they have a website. And this one looks similar. So we're going to go over here. So it looks like they are covering a wide variety of different topics, but this one here gives us an idea of the coloring, the patterns, even the demographics. So we see this lady here. She looks like she can't really tell if she's at the beach or something. But you want to look at the backgrounds and get an idea of, okay, this looks like a garden. Let's use a garden graphic and all that. So location is key. Demographic is key. And colors are key. So what you want to do here is just simply go through magazines. Like I said, jot down colors, jot down patterns that stand out. And once we have that information, we can move on to the next step. Hello and welcome to video number 6. Let's talk about powerful words, because the combination between images and powerful words equals great content. It's simplified content, but it's enough to get your audience engaged. So images with motivational quotes are important. In fact, if you watch the videos beforehand where we looked at images that were part of related pages, you would have noticed that a lot of the images that were getting engagement had a lot of motivational quotes. So this is the simplified content that you can create really fast that will get engagement. So we're going to show you how to find quotes that are appealing to your audience. We're going to show you how to find images and more. Okay, so we're going to keep with the topic of knitting simply because we utilized that as an example in the previous videos. But what you need to do is simply go to google.com and do a search for these terms. So when you type in funny and then you put in the keyword or the niche, then it'll drop down and it'll tell you things like funny knitting memes, quotes, pictures, video sayings, GIFs, patterns, t-shirts, and more. Now you have to get in the frame of mind of, okay, the people that are visiting your fan page, your Instagram, are they looking for funny? Are they looking for serious? What are they looking for? Now what we like to do is we like to create a combination of and a variety of different things. We like funny, we like serious, we like different emotions. But if your audience is really serious, you might want to stick with just motivational quotes and things like that. But simply go to Google and you can do funny knitting memes. And memes are simply images with some funny text on it, as you can see here. And a lot of times you'll see things like 324, 146 best knitting memes. So that will give you some ideas on different content pieces that you can create. Now, obviously, as I said earlier, do not plagiarize, do not copy it as it is exact, but you can always rewrite it in your own words. You can always use similar images and things like that. Another keyword term that we would recommend that you use is motivational quotes, or even quotes space the keyword of your niche. So as you can see, motivational quotes, knitting, we can see other variety of search terms here. But if you scroll down, you'll see other things like this: 167 best knitting quote images, 25 best motivational knitting quotes, and all this. So what you're trying to do is simply, for now, get an idea of the images, and again, look for patterns. So are you seeing a similar color being used or a similar word being used? Things like that will stand out and will enable you to create content pieces in the form of images that are really engaging. All right, so for example, let's go ahead and we'll just open this one up here. And Pinterest is actually a great place to go to find a variety of quotes, words, and things like that. A lot of times you'll find people who create specific boards and they'll pin them, and they'll have a huge list of quotes and words that you can use. So as you go through here, like I said, don't copy it, but get an idea. And what I recommend is, again, just like what we did with Facebook pages, look for images that are getting high engagement, meaning high pins and all that. And look for content pieces that have less words. Actually, the less words, the better. So that's one way of going about doing this. And that's it. So that's as simple as it gets. All right. So now let's move on to the next video.